네. Good afternoon. Welcome to Saturday Dharma Group. Today is the 96th monthly SDG Dharma Talk. Three refugees in English. Please repeat after me. The three refugees. I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge. I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take it into the Dharma.
Does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness is form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, and consciousness. Sariputra, all dharma are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease. Therefore, in emptiness, no form, no feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes and so forth, until no realm or mind consciousness, no ignorance and also no extinction of it, and so forth, until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them, no suffering, no organization, no stopping, no path, no conjunction. Also, no attainment with nothing to attain. The bodhisattvas depends on prajnaparamita, and the mind is so hindrance. Without hindrance, without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, one views in nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on prajnaparamita and attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore, know that prajnaparamita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra. Which is able to relieve all suffering, and it's true and not false. So proclaim the prajnaparamita mantra. Proclaim the mantra which says, Gate gate, paragate, parasangate bodhisattva. Gate gate, paragate, parasangate bodhisattva. Gate gate, paragate, parasangate bodhisattva.
화면이 지금 화면 용수스님 화면이 안 떠서 지금 오케이. Yeah. Today's Dharma teacher is Venerable Yongsu Sunim. Then I will introduce Yongsu Sunim briefly. Venerable Yongsu Sunim was born in Korea and immigrated to the United States at the age of 9 in 1975. Sunim completed undergraduate courses in the Department of Journalism and Broadcasting at the University of Utah in 1997. And he met His Holiness the Dalai Lama in his home state of Utah. Thereafter, Sunim studied Buddhism intensively, and in 2001, he became a Buddhist monk in the Nyingma tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. Following, Sunim did the 4-year intensive meditation retreat in France, and now he teaches Tibetan Buddhist meditation in Korea. Sunim has also brought many great Tibetan teachers to Korea, including His Holiness Shakya Trijin. Sunim gave lectures at the Seoul National University, Wongang University, Seoul University of Buddhism, Buddhist Broadcasting System, and so on. Today's Dharma teacher is Venerable Yongsu Sunim. To show respect, we bow to Yongsu Sunim 3 times. Sunim, please start, please.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so thank you so much for inviting me to this Dharma talk. Of course, I've been invited many times by this IDIA, the International Dharma Teachers Association, Dharma Instructor Association. So I recognize many people here, old friends. Of course, I grew up in America, so we're all friends, you know. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are or whether you're 80. An 80-year-old woman can be friends with an 8-year-old boy. So I think that's quite nice. I miss this kind of how do you say, equality. In Korea, you know, it's this kind of hierarchy. You know, this system is very important, isn't it? This hierarchy. So anyway, so it's very nice to see old friends like Mr. Bak Sang-pil and many others that I've known for a long time, and Tianjin Bosalim and everyone. So, so thank you again. It's an honor to give this talk talk a little bit about Dharma. And today's topic is how to get along with others, isn't it? This is very important. You know, how to get along with each other. Perhaps the most important thing in life, we could say, is how we get along with others, because much of our happiness and quality of life depends on how well we get along with people. You know, if we have some kind of obstacle or suffering in life, oftentimes it is because we have problems with others. We have problems with family or friends, and we have conflicts with them, and they've caused some kind of suffering for us. So learning to get along with others and learning to share kind of good heart with each other, this is the basis for meaningful and happy life. So we all want to be happy, isn't it? There's none of us who do not want to be happy. Everyone here, we all want to be happy. So happiness largely depends upon compassion. And so compassion is something that is very necessary if we want to be happy. When I first heard His Holiness Dalai Lama in America, when he spoke he mentioned this. He's always mentioning actually the importance of compassion. He emphasizes compassion all the time. Bodhicitta, bodhishim, and bodhicitta. He's always talking about compassion and the importance of compassion. And being compassionate is actually very good for us because it makes us happy. So, all of us, we do not want to suffer, right? Is there anyone here that wants to suffer? No, we do not want to suffer. But what is the cause of suffering? What is the cause of suffering? In the Mahayana Buddhism, we say the cause of suffering is two. One is the self-clinging. That means self-attachment, right? Self-attachment or self-clinging means that we believe we exist independently of others. But in Buddhism, we say we are all connected. We are all one. So this is not true. We are not independent, singular, entities. We're all connected. And so what this means is that we rely on others for everything. So the importance of others is absolute, in other words. So the second cause of suffering is the self-cherishing, we say. Self-cherishing. The first one is self-clinging. Self-clinging means I think I exist independently. So it's a mistaken kind of, it's a mistaken idea that I exist kind of without changing and singularly and independently. So I'm attached to myself, I'm attached to Yongsu, and 여기, like Mr. Bak Sang-pil is attached to Bak Sang-pil. Everyone is attached to themselves because they think they exist separately or independently. And so this is a mistaken belief. And based on this mistaken belief, then the second problem, which is the self-cherishing arises. Self-cherishing means like we care mostly about ourselves. Have you ever thought about this? Who do you care most about? Who do you think most about? Who are you most concerned about? Yourself, right? Yet we don't live alone. We're not the only one that's alive, right? There are so many human beings and animals. Yet most of the time we think about ourselves. And of course, we take care of our parents, but we only take care of them because they're my parents. Or, like my phone, right? We don't care about others' phones. We only care about my phone. So this is kind of a self-obsession. And this self-obsession is not very healthy. And it leads to all the suffering, is the self-obsession. We're obsessed about just one person, It's just one person. We're obsessed about one person. That person is oneself. So this is not aligned with reality. This is not aligned with reality. In other words, we live with countless other beings. So many beings in Korea. We have 50 million Koreans, South Koreans, right? Yet out of 50 million South Koreans, I don't know, 50 million, is that right? 45 million? I don't know exactly. But anyway, out of 50 million people, we care mostly about one person. How is that sensible or logical? But that's the case. Why is that the case? That is the case because of habit, based on ignorance. And what I mean by habit is the thinking over and over and over again. All our life, we have only cared mostly about ourselves, and we've thought only about ourselves. And so this kind of habitual thinking is called conditioned mind, or the scientists, they say default mode network, which means like there's an automatic automatic way of thinking that's very self-centered. And also this way of thinking causes all the suffering. So the meditation is to be able to become aware of that kind of very self-absorbed and very destructive and conducive to only suffering, this kind of thinking. Become aware of it. Becoming aware of that kind of thinking makes us free from that kind of thinking. And so we call this letting go. So letting go is the path, it is the meditation, is letting go of our thinking, letting go of our aggression, which is thinking, letting go of sadness, which is thinking, letting go of anxiety, which is thinking. So in Korea, we talk about it all the time, right? Like 방아착 or, 놓아버림, 내려놓으라, like these words, right? You let go. This is but we don't know really how to do it. We don't know. Everyone talks about it, but how to do it? So the path is the awareness. When there is awareness, there is a natural letting go. Because in awareness, thoughts have no power. Thoughts are released. So this is the key point of meditation, is to release the thinking. And in particular, letting go of the reactivity. Reactivity means how we react to other people when they, whatever they do or whatever they say, that we react in a certain way. This kind of reactivity, these thoughts that arise when someone says something bad about us or these kind of things. So the first point I want to make is the importance of others. We rely on others for everything, Basically, there's two kinds of happinesses. One is the ultimate happiness that we call liberation or enlightenment. That is ultimate happiness. And the second kind of happiness is the relative happiness. Relative happiness means like having, good food or having something to eat, clothes to wear, a place to sleep, some kind of, comfort. This is relative happiness. So both of these happiness depends on others. Everything that you enjoy in this life, it is because of others. This clothes we wear, the food we eat, the place we stay, it's all depends upon others. It's because of the kindness of others, that we live comfortably, and that we are, we live comfortably. So the importance of others is absolute. And what about the enlightenment? In order to gain enlightenment, we have to practice the 6 paramitas, right? 6 paramitas. So this also, we need others. In other words, if we're to practice generosity, we need someone to be generous too, right? We need an object of generosity. So others are important. Others are invaluable. Others are, their importance is absolute. And the second one, more like discipline. Discipline means not harming others, right? So that means we also need others. We need someone not to harm. And then patience. Actually, in order to practice patience, we need someone who harms us, who talks badly about us or who mistreats us. Then we can practice patience. And same with diligence and meditation. In order to practice meditation, we need to learn meditation from someone, right? So anyway, the point is the two kinds of happiness, ultimate happiness, which is enlightenment, and then relative happiness, which is the comfortable life, it depends on others. And we are all connected. So the reason that we are unhappy is because we cause unhappiness to others. We cause harm to others because we're connected. We say we are one body. We say like this right cheek is others and this left cheek is myself. You know, which side, hurts more? They both hurt, right? So you don't want to harm either side. So we are connected like that. If you speak badly of others, then you look bad. Do you know this? If you speak badly of others, then you look bad. Your reputation suffers. If you harm others, we suffer. If we help others, we are helped. If we give and we are generous to others, then we become very content and we become also prosperous. This is the law of karma. So what this means is that in order for us to be happy, we have to bring happiness to others. This is what the Dalai Lama calls wise selfishness. Wise selfishness. So that means that we all want anyway. We want what's good for us, right? Everybody wants that. Everybody wants what's good for us, for oneself. And what is good for oneself? That's compassion. That's giving. That's helping others. That's comforting others. That's what's good for us. That's what makes us happy. That's what makes us open our heart. That's good. It's also very good for health. Compassion is one of the keys for health, and this kind of begrudging, not forgiving, is the cause of ill health or kind of cause of disease. So if we can learn to forgive and get along with others, many of our health problems will go away, actually. And, and we will become quite healthy. Health and vigor relies a great deal upon the mind. The Buddha said that all of the disease actually comes from the root, the origin is actually the three poisons, the greed, avarice, and ignorance. So these three poisons. So anyway, the point is that if we want to if we want to be happy the rest of our lives, the more compassion we have, the more we take care of others, the happier we will be, and the more we harm others, and the more we talk badly of others, and the more we criticize others, and then the less happy we will be. And like, for example, if we hurt the feelings of others, if we hurt the feelings of others, then there's some kind of pain that we get from in our heart. We don't know it, we're not aware of it. So the others are like their importance is absolute. Is absolute. So whenever you meet others, in the Bodhisattva Vatara, the way of the Bodhisattva, it says whenever Shantideva, he says this, whenever you meet someone, think, oh, this person is the source of my enlightenment and happiness. Because of him, I will become a Buddha. Because of him, I will be happy in this life. So, knowing this, I will treat them with kindness and love. So, where does my happiness? Who does my happiness depend on? My happiness depends on this person, this person, this person, all the people here, everyone. So, I mean, others. Our happiness depends on others. If that is the case, then we have to treat others well. We have We have to be kind to others. So it's like, for example, if when you work in a company and the president of the company comes into the room or whatever, then we are very kind of respectful to the president, right? Right? Why? Because he's the boss, and our livelihood depends on him, right? That's why we treat the boss with respect, right? I don't know. In Korea, they're very respectful for the boss, aren't they? But why? That's the same thing. Who's my boss? My boss is, let's see, Kim Ki-hyun. He's my boss. Or Sun Jung-hwa. She's my boss. Or Min Tae-hong. He's my boss. You understand? So everybody is my boss because I rely on them for my livelihood, for my happiness, and for my enlightenment. So just like you have to respect the boss, right? So you have to respect everyone. You have to respect others because our livelihood, our happiness depends on it. So this is what is called the dependent origination, law of dependent origination. And dependent origination means that we're connected, that we rely on others. My happiness depends on others. And likewise, my suffering also depends on others, I suffer because I bring harm to others. So this is the first point, is the importance of others. Okay, second point, the art of losing, okay? Art of losing, how to lose. What this means is whenever we are harmed, and this is the practice of patience, or the patience paramita. The third paramita is patience, right? So this is the practice of patience. And practicing patience is so good for oneself. It really helps us become like a very, become a very soft, very gentle, and changes our heart, the practice of patience. And how to practice patience? How to lose. This is the point, how to lose. Losing means whenever there is a conflict we have with someone else, or whenever, let's say, someone says something bad to us, then there's some kind of reactivity, reactivity, right? And this reactivity arises in the thoughts. And so we think, oh, how dare you, how can you say that about me? Who are you anyway? Huh? Like you get this kind of reactivity arises. And so the practice of patience is to become aware of the reactivity. Now, awareness means to give space to our reactivity, to our kind of, anger, to our kind of frustration, whatever emotion, sadness, anxiety, because when there is awareness, there is space. And what this space does is it solves all the problems. All the problems is solved by space. And like our heartache or sadness, it's all resolved by space. And space means like, and what brings the space? Awareness. So, or mindfulness, awareness, So whenever someone says something bad about you, hey, you, whatever, or maybe someone says, a friend will tell us, this other person said something bad about me, this person said, oh, you're a bad person, or something like this, right? And then what happens? Like thoughts arise, emotions arise. And when we follow the emotions, then that's where the suffering comes. And that's where the conflict gets bigger and bigger. But if we can become aware of the thoughts, of the reactivity, then this awareness gives space to the thoughts. And what happens? And the thoughts have no power. Thoughts have no power. Emotions have no power within space. So as I said, space solves everything. Space is the kind of, it's the cure-all, cure-all, cures everything. So anyway, so the space, if you can give space to the reactivity, this is what is meant by losing. So whenever there is a conflict, between one person and another, they'll say something, and then they'll say something, and then some kind of reactivity will come, and if there is awareness, then the reactivity will be let go, and then we'll be able to see the situation kind of clearly, and also we'll be able to kind of deal with the situation with wisdom and also with compassion. So, how's everyone doing? Is it? I thought maybe there would be some foreigners, but not many foreigners attending today. But anyway, I'm trying to kind of speak clearly and enunciate so that my Korean friends can understand. Anyway, so the how to lose. This losing is a very, very important skill. Losing doesn't mean you're right, I'm wrong. It doesn't mean like that. Losing means letting go of the reactivity. If whenever, we are very, very sensitive, our ego is very sensitive. So whenever, if someone says a small thing, anything bad or, negative, then our ego would just arise, very strongly. And if we become part of the ego, if we, identify with the ego, and then that's where the suffering comes. When we identify with the thoughts. All of our problems come from identifying with our thoughts, or identifying with this ego, or giving importance to the thinking, giving importance to the thoughts. So that's where all of our problems comes. And we have to learn how to give space to the thoughts, become aware of the thoughts. Becoming aware of the thoughts means that we are not part of the thought. We just simply are aware of the thought. We are not part of the thought. We just, the thoughts, we watch the thoughts. We watch the thoughts. And what happens when we watch the thoughts with awareness? The thoughts are released. They are let go. And this is the heart of meditation. This is the key to meditation. And meditation means actually to become free from these thoughts. This mind, it creates all of our problems, and we don't know how to deal with it. And the way to deal with it is awareness, becoming aware. And in the beginning, we have to start by becoming aware of the breath or body or form, things like this. And then eventually we become more aware of our thoughts and emotions as well. So yes, the first thing is learning to lose. There's kind of a famous story. Ajahn Brahm, he tells this story about a married couple, newlywed. And this newlywed couple, this newlywed married couple, is taking a walk in the park. And in the park, they hear this sound, quack, 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 quack. And so the wife she says, "Oh, there are chickens in the park. There's chickens in the park." And the husband says, "No, no, no, that's not chicken. That's a duck. Duck. Quack, quack. That's duck, right?" And then they just said, "Oh no." And anyway, they keep walking, and then they hear the sound again, quack, quack, quack. And then the wife again says, "Oh, there's chickens in the park. Oh, there must be chickens." And the husband husband gets angry and says, "No, they're ducks. These are not chickens. They're ducks. Quack, quack, quack. You don't know the sound of a duck?" He gets a little bit angry. And so because he gets a little bit angry, then the wife becomes a little bit hurt. She was hurt by his kind of anger and comment. And then now the atmosphere becomes really kind of bad, and they're kind of walking, and they're not saying anything to each other. And they start walking again, and then they hear the sound again, quack, 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 quack. And then this time the husband says, "Oh, there was chickens in the park." So he lost, he lost to her, right? It's actually they're ducks. They're not chickens, obviously. But he lost. He let go of his reactivity, his need to be right. And this is another thing, is that whenever we have an argument or conflict, we always have to be right, we have to win, and this trying to win, or even if you win, even if you prove your point, like we have to, how do you say, prove our point, right? We have to know we are right, you're wrong, like this. But even if you win, there's no real winner, you lose and they lose, everybody loses. But if you lose, then that's the real victory. That's the real victory. If you can lose, that is the true winning. And not only do you win, but the other person wins. So this is the win-win, win-win. Yes, I would like to have some time later for question and answers as well. Is that okay? That's okay, isn't it? Later. And is there a break in the middle, or should I continue? Should we take one break now, or it's okay to keep going? What do you think?
Please continue.
Please continue. Okay.
After your Dharma talk, we have a Q&A session. So
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I would like to have a Q&A if anyone has any question at all. So, okay. So now I talked about the art of losing. Now the third topic is how to forgive loved ones. The person often that causes a lot of harm, the most kind of the strongest kind of pain, and the kind of yes, the kind of strongest like pain or suffering is often someone very close to us, isn't it? Like your relative or friends, right? And because we put so much trust in them, it hurts very much when they do something to harm us. We think we feel very betrayed, isn't it? And so this kind of how do you say, betrayal takes some time to heal, and take some time to forgive. Do you have some kind of perhaps some kind of pain because of this? Maybe you cannot forgive someone, whether it's a relative or whether it's a friend, because they have caused this a great deal of suffering, pain and suffering, and you feel betrayed by them. This is a very common scenario, isn't it? So it takes some time, especially like, for example, parents. Parents is a big one, isn't it? Everybody has problems with parents. This is kind of, and parents is very difficult. Oftentimes, many children, they cannot forgive their parents, and And parents, they make a lot of mistakes. Your parents made many mistakes, and they don't have much wisdom, parents. But they're not short on love. They loved us. There's no one that loves us more in this world than our parents. We can be betrayed by everybody, but our parents cannot betray us. So we should think like that, with our parents. Then it's more easy to forgive the parents. But anyway, it's very common for the children to have problems with parents. The parents actually, they made a lot of mistakes. And if we are parents, also we make a lot of mistakes because we lack wisdom. We don't know how to raise children. Really, it's like nobody knows how to raise children. And that's common, everybody is like that. And so there's lots of conflicts between parents and children. And many conflicts arise with family members. And of course, spouse is a really big one. Marriage, right? Marriage, in America, we say you can't live with them and you can't live without them, like this. It's like very difficult. It's kind of a difficult situation. Marriage is very difficult for the most part, because why is marriage difficult is because one person is the ego, right? And the other person is the ego. So two egos, when they live together, it never works. It never works. It's very difficult. So one person has to be like not an ego. And then it works, and then it can work. But I'm an ego, other person is ego, that doesn't work usually. So anyway, because of this, there's so many problems in the close relationships, relatives, and this is universal. This is universal. Now, everybody has the problems in the family and the friends, close friends. So, yeah. Maybe Kim Sunmo 씨 mic. Okay, thank you. Anyway, so yeah. So this kind of pain we get from parents, we get from children, or children also. The children also, big problem. So, and the relatives and the friends. So this is kind of a lifelong kind of process in order to forgive them, and learning forgiveness is this is the best way for us to grow up, learning to forgive, is the best way. It is the best way for us to become kind of a genuine human being, is learning to forgive. And because forgiveness, when we can learn to forgive, it causes a great deal of suffering as well as physical problems to go away. And then forgiveness also causes a great deal of happiness that arises, and also change in our nature, change in our kind of character. So it is the path that is kind of like, it is like the golden path, if we can take it, if we can learn to forgive. If you can learn to forgive, it causes so much happiness, and it causes so much suffering to go away. But it is so difficult. It is so difficult learning to forgive. So it takes some time. In the first step is you have to allow the anger. You have to allow the anger, because yes, it's actually, there is some kind of legitimacy to being angry with our parents. There's some kind of, there's some kind of, there's some reason to be angry with our parents. There is reason. So we have to acknowledge that. That doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that they've made mistakes. Every parent makes mistakes, and lots of them, so many of them. And they have they have, what they do is they give the kind of the suffering, habits of suffering, and they give it to their children. And the children, they will give it to their children, like this, So this is kind of this is samsara, right? So the first step is to acknowledge our anger or allow the anger. It's okay to have anger toward parents, toward relatives. It's okay, but we cannot like give up on them. The point is we must not how do you say, make them into bad people. Whether it's our parents or whatever. It's like they're not bad people. They're good people with some kind of bad habits. So we have to have this kind of in our kind of mindset that one day we will forgive them, like this. One day I want to forgive them. We have to have this kind of attitude. Right now I cannot forgive them. It's okay. That's okay. But one day I will forgive them, like this. One day I will. So this kind of mindset we must have. Otherwise, if we I'll never forgive them. This kind of attitude is very, very harmful to oneself. This kind of I will never forgive them attitude will cause a lot of. This is very, very harmful to oneself. So forgiveness actually is about, is good for oneself. And then allowing the anger means like whenever the anger arises, whenever there is the anger arises, simply become, aware of the anger. In other words, do not be afraid of the anger. Many times we're afraid of the anger or the negative emotions toward that person, relative, parents. We're ashamed of it sometimes. We want to hide it, or we want to let's say, or sometimes we become just very angry, and none of these methods are very good. The proper method is to, when it arises, to have sometimes it takes some courage. We have to have courage and kind of face that kind of emotion, face the emotion. This takes courage, we don't want to face the emotion. We're afraid of the emotion. We're afraid of how we feel about our parents, relatives, or whatever, friends. We're afraid of the emotion. And when we are afraid of this emotion, this gives power to the emotion. And this emotion keeps haunting us, following us, and so until we face that emotion, that hatred, that pain, and when we face it, it takes courage, it takes courage. But if we can face it, what happens? There's a few things. One is that this emotion is not as bad as we might think. If we run away from the emotion, then that emotion becomes like a monster. We feel like we cannot handle the emotion. It's like, if you, for example, if you, it's dark at night, let's say, and you see some kind of very scary person in the corner, and we don't look, we're afraid to look, it looks like it's a very scary person. He's about to harm us. If we look, it's a tree. You know what I'm saying? If you look, it's not a big deal. But if you don't look, if you run away, then it's very, very scary. When we were kids, we think someone's chasing us in the dark. I don't know. I grew up in the very small village. It's kind of like that. So anyway, these demons are not as bad as we might think when we face them. When we run away, then they're like monsters, very, very difficult to, very scary, very scary. And the second thing is if you face our emotions, is that the emotions become purified. So purification of the emotion is done by bringing them to light, or it is done by acknowledging them, kind of like objective acknowledgement. When there is an objective acknowledgement of our emotion, the emotion becomes weak, cannot sustain itself, the emotion. How does the emotion sustain itself? How does the pain sustain itself? The pain sustains itself when we run away from them, when we indulge them, when we indulge pain. Sometimes we indulge pain. It's almost like we like pain. It's almost like we're addicted to the pain, like this, or it's like sadness or depression, right? Depression is kind of like an addiction to sadness. It's kind of like it's not pleasant, but it's familiar. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's not pleasant, but it's familiar. So we take kind of like refuge in the sadness. We take refuge in the pain. It's almost like we don't take refuge in the 3 jewels, right? We take refuge in the pain. We take refuge in depression. And this is this is the 2 ways that the pain becomes bigger. One is we indulge, or we indulge. In other words, we're kind of addicted to the pain. And the second way is we run away from the pain. We don't face the pain. We're afraid of the pain. So both of these ways, the pain becomes the pain is not resolved, and this pain is there in our heart wherever we go. Even though it's of course it's kind of like, hidden. Most of the time it's hidden. It's not like we feel the pain all the time. But because this pain is there, our life becomes very like lackluster, kind of, there's nothing joyous in life, It's like life becomes, that's why in America people take drugs, It's because life is so, they become numb. People are numb, because they don't want to face the pain, so they numb themselves, right? And when they become numb, life becomes numb, and life becomes like empty. There's like it's like empty. We feel empty, and this kind of emptiness. Then we seek some kind of like pleasures, like maybe drugs or sex, or this kind of thing, or gambling or something like this, because we're numb. We don't feel the joy of life. And the thing that prevents us from feeling the joy of life is because we become numb to our own emotions, to our own pain. So if we can feel the pain, if we can allow the pain, that's the important thing, is not to run away from the pain, not to run away from our anger, but to face them. And in order to face them, we need courage. It's very easy to run away. We've run away all our life, and we've become numb all our life. We're very good at running away. We're very good at not feeling. We're very used to that. We're like experts almost. We become numb through many different methods. But facing the pain, this is something that we're not very used to, and so we have to face the pain that have been caused through human relationships. And in order to forgive others, we have to first face the pain. And then we can forgive others. Little by little, And sometimes when we work through our anger, then our anger becomes smaller and smaller, and then we can forgive others. And not only can we forgive others, but they also, the people that we could not forgive, they become, all of a sudden, they become good people, or they become kind of pleasant. They're like, how do you say? Yeah. So people, but it's not that they changed; it's that our mind changed, our attitude toward them changed. But it seems like they changed. They're like become very good people. It's not like, but it's not that. Actually, people are good people. Everybody is a good person. But we don't see that. That's the problem. So now, if we're not going to have a break, maybe we'll take some questions and answers. Can we do that? Take some question and answers. If you have question, you can do it, through the chat, or if you raise your hand, maybe you can ask a question. Turning your mic on. 대신 보살님, 괜찮아요? So if anyone has any questions about anything, human relationships or meditation or whatever.
Everybody, please give a big hands to Venerable